know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from NFL playoffs to pro and college basketball, UFC, MMA, and much more. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. I'm Marcus Dash here with our host, legendary tight end, Jason Dunn.
Hey, look, I still got one of these good old Super Bowl cups, 57 cups, I'm sipping out of tonight. Just putting a little touch on the Super Bowl winners, the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? Give a hand for those guys. One more time for those Kansas City Chiefs out there, baby. Making moves, doing things. They're looking for another Super Bowl this year. So how's it going, Marcus? How you doing, my brother? How's it going?
I can't complain. Getting closer to the new league year next week, so getting excited for that. Also, I had some rough news this weekend. You and I talked about it. I texted you from the emergency room Saturday morning. Got attacked by a Great Pyrenees dog this weekend. My buddy's dog. Yeah, man, rough.
I thought you said it was Chihuahua. They got you.
Are you kidding? A Chihuahua? I know I'm a small guy, but come on.
Listen, I've heard reports on those dogs. Man, it's crazy. When you told me that, man, and you just said you was going in, kind of tell the story, and let everybody know what the story was, for a nice, quick little segment.
So Saturday night, I went to a birthday party in DC. At the Uber rides around 3 a.m. Uber rides, had the surge prices. So I was trying to get back to a suburb in Virginia where I live, and it was about $120 Uber ride. So I looked at it, said if you wait an hour, it'll be $80. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Jeez. My buddy who lives in Arlington, Virginia, so it's about like 20 minutes closer to where I live. He was going at that point. I was like, hey, I'm going to hop in with you and I'm going to call my Uber from your place. He goes, hey, yeah, go for it. He goes, dude, you can come in and meet my dog. The guy always talks about his dog, always talks about it. At the bar, it's like his opening line to girls, like, hey, look at my dog. And like showing his pictures with it and stuff. And I was like, dog must be harmless. So anyway, get to the place, call my Uber. It was a $20 ride from his place back home. And 5 minutes, right? And he's like, yo, you got 5 minutes? 5 minutes, come inside. Go inside. Opens the door, dogs like clawing the door. He hears his owner coming in. So we go in and right away, this dog sniffs my leg. And I'm like, okay, he's sniffing my leg. And all of a sudden I'll like a bites my like calf, like a little bit like a part of my jeans tears off my calf area. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like your dog. And he goes, oh man, he's never done that before with anybody. Like, keep in mind, I'm good with dogs. Dogs love me.
Yeah.
For the most part, except for this one. But anyway, he scolds him. He's like, no, you don't do that. Like, hits him on the nose and stuff. And the dog's kind of like whimpering a little bit. And I'm a little weary of this at this point. And so I look at my phone. I'm like 2 minutes away. I'm like, hey man, my Uber's here. I'm just gonna go. So I like, while he's like scolding the dog, I'm not thinking about the dog anymore. Yeah. I turned to go to the door, and I guess right when I turned, he let go of the dog. Dog runs after me, bites my like hamstring area. And then I turn around, dog bites my quad area. And then at this point I shrug the dog off. Then my buddy, bigger guy, jumps on this dog, like holds him down, like has a bear hug him to the ground. This dog's trying to get out of that. Like I see him like squirming to get out of it.
Like he's
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Without biting the owner. I just get out. And it honestly didn't hurt that bad. My jean, my quad area was like kind of like cut up. I get in the Uber ride and I see like the area where like my jean was like kind of cut. I see like the blood like filling up in there. I'm like, whoa, let's see what's going on down there. I see it. I'm like, oh man, I got messed up. Anyway, take the Uber to the hospital, the ER. I got one stitch in there. I'll tell you what, go to the ER about 4 a.m. On a Saturday night. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. On a Saturday, hey, you catching everything in there, everything and everybody in there.
It was crazy.
Yeah, like things you wouldn't even imagine. But man, it's just a wild story in itself, man. That's to me, like, and I'm a dog lover. I love dogs. Own quite a few of them. Just love dogs to death. And the thing is, man, if dogs, I don't know what it is. Like, if it's something that they don't like, or if they get into like locked in, they are locked into it. I mean, and for real. So I don't know, man. Did you take like a Slim Jim bath or something? You have some meat cologne on, something new, or what? What's the deal?
I put my usual cologne concoction on, and usually people love it. I guess that dog didn't for some reason.
You got to make a commercial. They love it enough to bite you, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a cool time.
Okay, man. I'm glad you're okay and you're healing up.
I appreciate it, man. I'm sure you were really weirded out by. I'm sure you didn't know what the heck you were looking at when you looked at your phone the next morning.
Yeah. You might have shared the picture. Did everybody see it, man? It just because the thing is when you talk about it, you see the blood fill up, but then when you see like the picture, like that hole in your leg, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, there was like I said, that it was a hospital. It was really weird at 4 a.m. in the ER. Cops like walking by, looking at it and stuff. And I looked at my nurse and I was like, I think the cops think I got shot. They're like, oh, like yeah, well, we do get those in here too around this time. Like, interesting.
Imagine.
Yeah. Person next to me, there's a little too much detail. Person next to me, I'm sitting there like waiting for the doctor to come put the stitch, because they put one stitch in the front and one stitch in the back. The two different cuts I had. And I hear like the other nurse talking to the other patient next to me. And he's like, so what's going on with her? She says, oh yeah, she took a little bit of LSD and acid, and she said she was tripping in the car badly. And he goes, I can't do anything. I can't do anything about that. She's gonna have to just kind of sleep it off. Yeah. And I'm like, what is going on in here? Like, get me out of here. But yeah. Weird times, and that's and now I know why they have so many hospital shows, because there's so many stories you can get in a hospital. So many different things happen that people get to see, and that's why you have ER, Chicago Med, and all these other shows they have.
Yes, indeed, man. It is. That is without a doubt. The hospital in itself, man, is a whole different environment, no doubt.
For sure.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but hopefully heal up and I can get right for my flag season coming up in 3 weeks, and then also we have NFL free agency coming up this next week. So I want to be ready to go.
Yes, sir. Be ready.
So obviously lots to get into with what all the rumors coming out every day. There's new rumors and stuff, and we're gonna get into it with our first one tonight. Jay, you ready to rock?
Ready, baby. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Definitely ready.
So one thing that we all knew when we went to free agency was Orlando Brown, free agent. We knew that whole thing went on last year. It was like he got tagged, he came to camp late. We knew that was going to be a big thing. And we assumed that after winning the Super Bowl, having a great playoffs, he was going to be tagged at least. But Chiefs are not placing a franchise tag on Orlando Brown Jr. and saves them around $20 million, because if we place a tag on him, it's $20 million right out the gate. And we have until Monday, this coming Monday, to work on a deal, and we have exclusive rights to do that at that point. But many insiders don't expect for the two sides to come to terms on a long-term deal as of right now. Chiefs are apparently looking at all options. So, JD, what does this mean to you? And I got a question with the whole combine that we just saw. Is it more likely that the Chiefs see a guy in the NFL draft that they really like, or is it just more likely that they don't think Orlando Brown is worth the contract that he wants?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it might be the combination of the two, to be honest with you. If you're thinking about a guy who is, they're not tagging, a hefty, amount to, and they're sitting there saying, well, look, we want you to go out here and see what you get, right? You have every right to go out here and see what shop around and see what you look at and see what guys or teams are thinking about. And this almost comes to like the whole thing, like with the whole Frank Clark situation, because it's like, we have a number, we know what we want to do, what we're looking at, and you have it in your camp, what you're thinking. We may be at two different places right now. And so considering how things happened last year, right? Went all through during the off season and not coming to training camp, all those different things. Like all that took a toll. It did. And so teams, Chiefs, let me put it into not teams, Chiefs, I know what thinking, look, we just don't want to pay this hefty tag for it, especially if you're thinking you want to get top 3 money or top 1 or 2 money. They don't know if they want to do that, right? Look, and we understand the importance of protecting PM15. That right there is absolutely the most important thing that you do, is make sure that Patrick Mahomes, he is protected. You got to have a guy that's capable of doing that. So I was saying something like, it is. It's like, the devil that you know is the guy that you want, as opposed to going out here and don't know what you're going to get in the free agency or may get in the draft. But if you see guys and it's like, look, if we can use that money elsewhere, do different things with it, then why not? So they know they got some guys that are coming up. We're talking about Steve. We're talking about, Chris Jones. We're talking about guys being signed. And they wondered, should we take our money and put it in elsewhere? And I think that's what they have to really quantify. That's what it boils down to. And so I think right now, like you said, it comes to Monday to make a decision about what it is, how they want OBJ to be in the future with the Chiefs. And so, yeah, man, shop him around, see what he gets. And if they match it or if they see something that they're like, okay, fine, you didn't get anything. It's just where we at with where we are. We got to see what we're going to get something done.
Yeah, some of the reports that came out, obviously it's all speculation and rumors, but some of the rumors that came out from this was that we didn't tag him because we kind of tested out to see what the interest was with him. We kind of want him to hit the open market and see what the actual interest is in paying him that price tag. And I mean, I'm sure some teams out there, maybe not contenders, who may want to pay him that money, but in order to, because a lot of people thought tag and trade was going to be a thing. And obviously that didn't happen because there wasn't that interest out there for people to want to get him or pay up for a guy who wants to get paid $24 million a year or whatever he really wants.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with, the first half of the season. And I make this point all the time. He coming into camp, he was behind, just everybody else as far as with conditioning and being in shape, because he hadn't really been there during the off season like he should have, getting ready. And so I know that did something to his performance. Not to mention also, too, I know he was dealing with an injury that significantly, messed with his performance, right? We can see it. And so, they kind of downplayed a little bit. Oh, yeah, he's got a little knee injury, a little nick here and there. But I think it was a little bit more significant than just that. And so you could tell it like in his play. So you could see during the season, he was actually getting better. Now, they didn't probably take until maybe like week 10 or 11, like, that he was almost where he needed to be. Like, if you look at his production, as far as like, the pass protection, what he gave up in hurries and sacks, you could see that. You could see it glaringly. And so I think all those things was really one of the things that people were looking at during the season. And so the most part of the season, everybody was just checking out, didn't really doing well. Nobody was sold on paying him that hefty type of money. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, we look, what the guy's doing right now, we cannot pay him top tackle money. And it's a performance-based business. And so if you're not performing, to be warranted a number 1, number 2 type of hefty price tag, nobody's going to pay it. So we know he did relatively get better later on in the season and definitely in the playoffs. He got better. And so, but to teams, that's like the concern. Is it that guy that we're getting, or is it this guy right here, second half, that we're getting? And teams have to think that. Teams want to look, do we want to pay this type of money for this guy, for left tackle? So you have, number of teams that need left tackles. He's one of the top free agent tackles out there, if not number 1. Teams are going to be vying to try to get this guy. Still, the question is, do they want to pay for that amount of money to try to get him?
That's good. That's a big question. I mean, Could you see, obviously, with the winning the Super Bowl and obviously the personal connections he has with the team, let's say he hits the open market. We didn't work out a long-term deal at that point by Monday.
Yeah.
Hits the open market. He sees like, I'm only getting paid a little bit more than what the Chiefs are offering me. Could you see maybe a reconciliation there? I mean, obviously there's no bad blood between them. There was no reports of bad blood, but could you see a reconciliation if, like, I don't know, example, Houston offers him what, $21 million a year or something like that. And he's like, that's the best I'm going to get. I'd rather just go back and take the whatever Kansas City was offering me, what, 19 a year, whatever the rumor thing is.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the play. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you already been there, went to the Super Bowl, won Super Bowls there. That's a place that you got Patrick Mahomes. You've really kind of got, part of a family there, right? All your boys are there. You've been playing with them for the past few years. And so it would make sense to go back there and say, look, instead of going to Houston, which these guys are not going to make it, they're not going to be there in the Super Bowl. Why not go back home? If it's over a couple meal here and there, hey, man, shoot, why not? Right? I think, everybody's got to take an account for their own best interests at hand. He's got to do it what's best for him, how he feels about it. You should always know your worth and always know your value. The reality is this. Every year the cap is going up, okay? Every single year. So we know free agency, other guys are going to go in, somebody's going to break the bank, somebody's going to get a better contract every single year. Do you go ahead and pay a guy right now, and then later on the road, it's like 2 or 3 years from now, you're like, oh, well, you know what? We got a good deal getting this guy for this amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. So that's all these things you have to think about. Well, if you don't, and you sit there and say, well, look, why don't we bring a younger guy in, develop him, some good tackles coming out here in the draft, take a chance and take a risk, but you got a guy back here who's making $45 million, right, a year. You want to put that on this young guy? You know what I mean? Do you really want to put that on a young guy to protect Patrick Mahomes, where he hasn't had not one snap in the NFL, and it's always one of those things that he's got to grow to get better. He's got to develop. I don't care who it is. I don't care who you get. He's got to learn to get better. I don't care if you bring in a Willie Roaf, or who's another one, Jonathan Ogden, right? I don't care who you bring in. It's still going to take guys some time to develop, right? Mm-hmm. So I know you got a hefty price tag behind you that you got to protect. Do you put it on a young rookie? I don't know, man. These are all the questions, man. It's just all speculation, but it's all good questions.
So I did want to ask you, so you're one of your former players you play with, Marc Boerigter. He tweeted something about this Orlando Brown situation the other day. He said you don't have to chip and help a franchise left tackle. And it was right after we decided not to tag Orlando Brown.
Yeah, I hear people say it all the time. To me, that's silly. To me, love Mark. And the reality is this. I don't care what left tackle is out there. In the grand scheme of things, you're still going to have help and chip. That's just part of it. You're going to have some guy that's going to be on an island and he can probably, hold his own. But here's the thing. Even in pass protections, you're still going to ask for a chip and help. That's what it is. That's the reality of it. And here's another thing. This might not be a popular opinion, but I'm going to say this. When we start looking at numbers, and I looked at like Orlando Brown Jr., he takes 893 pass block snaps, okay, which is 85 next to the top 20 of the ones. And if we talk the top 10 or top 5 guys, we're talking about 242 more snaps at pass blocking. 242. So that goes into it. So, more of it, the chances he's going to have more pressures, more hurries, right? Maybe more sacks. He gave up 4 sacks this year. Gave up 4 sacks, okay? Not only that, unpopular opinion. Without a doubt, Patrick Mahomes drops back further than everybody else, okay? That's reality. So we're sitting over looking at dropping back passes. Patrick retreats more than everybody else. So we got to take into account those things too, because if I'm a speed rusher, I'm going to beat a guy to the point. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm just going to beat him with speed. Now, at the very first of the season, OBJ, his feet were lazy. They were slow. You know, he was clicking the heels. You seen that? And the thing was, the speed rusher, you had to engage with a guy right now. I'm gonna run up the field because I know Pat is sitting back in his what's the name, in his pass drop. We know this. And so it was easier for a pass rusher to get back all the way because the guy's trying to go backwards, you going forward. Well, you push a guy back there. I'm giving a little bit more space. So even with that scheme of like how things happen, you know, a guy that's playing left tackle, I don't care who he is, plays in this offense, you're going to have more opportunities for hurries, for pass rushes, pressures than everybody else. That's the reality. So we can say this about left tackles don't need a chip and a block. Absolutely they will. I don't care who you put back there. Everybody's going to need some help. Every left tackle, I don't care, grand scheme of things, you still got a little chip and help sometimes, maybe if you didn't even ask for it. That's just part of the deal in pass protection. So I just, you know, to me, when people make those assessments, playing the position, you know, tight end and tackle and pass blocking, you know the space. You know what you're actually going against. You know, you see these things. And so, you know, when we're looking at who's coming, you know, as a pass rusher, you know, everything coming into order, right? There's times you have to sit there and say, look, man, I got to sit back a little bit further in this pass drop or, you know, in this pass protection. I had to get back there. And so sometimes what that does is it's pushing you past where you want to go comfortably in your drop. So there's a lot there, man. There's a lot there. But I know sometimes when people make these assessments, at least for me, somebody who has pass blocked a lot, it's tough, man. It's tough. You know, for a guy, especially doing almost 900 pass protections in a year, that is tough. That is tough. So when I'm looking at all the other ones on Pro Football Focus and everybody's in 500 and 600 and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's why. I see why, you know, that's, you know, guys going to grade up pretty high. You know, shoot. So.
Yeah. That's interesting. So the next closest person was 242 pass.
I think 242 was like the top five offensive tackles by Pro Football Focus. I think it was. Wow. I think it was Lane Johnson at 651. He was like the next guy, you know. And Lane, I forgot what he graded out at. Shoot, I don't know. I had to pull it up, but let me see. Oh, he graded out 90%.
Okay,
you know, a pass block. Okay, all right, but he only had 651. You know, so. Yeah, he's doing a great job, but significantly lower amounts of pass protection, right? So all those things you got to take into account, man. You do.
So we're talking about, obviously, you mentioned there, like you have a guy who's half $1 billion man behind our O-line, right? So you kind of need to pay up for that, but you also don't want to put it in the hands of a rookie. But some of the arguments I've heard for the people who want us to draft a left tackle and move on from Orlando Brown was 2 years ago after that disaster in the Super Bowl, we revamped the O-line, but two of those guys on that O-line were rookies, being Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Obviously, left tackle, a little different, the blind side spot. So you can't really compare center and right guard.
You can't compare them. Come on, man. You can't compare them. You can't compare. Listen, Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, center and guard, you're going to have somebody on the inside and outside. They're on both sides of it. You got help. You have help. So it's going to be easier for center and guard. It's going to be easier. You're not out of space. Left tackles are hard. That's why I'm telling you, left tackles do not grow on trees. They don't. Okay? That job out there, left tackle on an island, is significantly tougher, okay, than playing somewhere in space on inside O-line. You know, a lot of O-linemen may say, oh, well, shoot. I tell you what, we pass it like we passing, absolutely tougher. And I would be against anybody that says it's not. Do you out your mind if you believe it's not? Now, if you're going against a guy named like Aaron Donald, right, or Chris Jones, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one for you, okay? But at least, you know, with center and guard, you can get your hands on guys right now. I'd rather get my hands on a guy immediately than give guys some space. You know what I'm saying? I'm retreating and the guy's going forward, right? So I almost got to catch a guy, you know, give power while I'm pushing back to hit a guy. That's difficult, man. That is absolutely difficult. And so when people say, I'm just like, man, you haven't. I don't think you quite get it. I don't quite think you understand the difficulty what you're asking for out there, right? So that's why when you sit there, you're talking about some of these guys, like, and when I'm talking about top tackles, of all time, man, yeah, I mean, you got to realize how hard a job that is, especially now. Shoot, you thinking about 900, pass blocks in a year? Wow. Shoot.
And that also shows you when we talk about like some of the best tackles, you can only really think of like 5 or 6. It's tough to find a franchise left tackle. I mean, think about it. I mean, we might have aged ourselves a little bit by saying Willie Rofe and Jonathan Ogden, but like if you think about it, like Trent Smith, and then like, I mean that's you go back to Willie Rofe, Jonathan Ogden, and Orlando Pace. That's pretty much those are like when it stands out. Walter Jones is another one, but like
yeah.
Well, I think of left tackles, I mean, that's pretty much, I mean, it. And then you got to, I think people just need to kind of get out of their heads like, oh, well, you only pay a guy like Trent Williams, not Trent. I keep saying
yeah.
Trent Williams, you pay him that much money, but like nobody else gets paid. I mean, you can't, it's apples and oranges. You can't compare, like you said, a guy who's playing almost 1,000 passing snaps to a guy who's playing, I mean, I don't know how many Trent Williams had, but I mean, you can't really compare the two.
I'll tell you how many Trent Williams had. I'll tell you exactly how many Trent had. Trent Williams had 555.
Like almost half.
Yes. Well, 555 and 892, I think it was, 893. So that's, I mean, come on, man. Right? That, I mean, so we gotta like look at the evidence. Right? Like all of it. That's what I'm talking about. Like the evidence of like the same thing, like not just the numbers, but also too, like Patrick dropping back further than everybody else. Like, hello, right? You're asking a guy to do a lot. You're asking the left tackle to do a lot. And so it's the same thing. If I'm a defensive end, I tell you defensive end, and see a rookie come in and left tackle, a guy's dropping back far, like Patrick, I guarantee they think about eating his lunch. I promise you, every defensive end is sitting there thinking like, is a speed rusher? I'm going to back and get this guy. There's no way this guy is learning that right now. So it's been Tony Baselli, look, there's been some great tackles, some incredible tackles, right? But you can name them. You can name the top tackles.
Yeah.
And there's a reason, because that's why they get paid the big bucks. Why they get paid the big bucks? Because they have one of the toughest jobs.
Yeah.
That's why, right? Quarterbacks, they get paid because they have one of the toughest jobs. Corners going to get paid because they got one of the toughest jobs. Tight ends are not getting paid, but they got one of the toughest jobs. I had to just say that because it's, that's my job. What is it for real? Hey, Travis Kelce, I'm going to say that. Travis should be up there about 20, at least 20-something mil a year, at least, every bit of it. So,
hey, now he wants the team to fill up other positions. He wants
it, man. I'm all for it too, man. I commend the man for that, because that is a man of character, all those things, but also too, the man needs to be paid what he's worth.
100%.
Period. Okay. So, especially what he's been doing. And we talking about productivity, what he's been given. He got the top wide receiver. Come on, man. Paid off production. How about that? Do that. All this fair market. And that's what happens in fair market value. We start looking at things, you start looking at production. And so that's why teams are sitting there saying, do we pay a guy off this production? But yeah, you got to quantify. Is it going to be doing 900, pass protections?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
a big name that everyone keeps talking about as far as possibly trading for is Laremy Tunsil. Now, where is he? I haven't really looked at his PFF grades, but that's a name that people keep talking about potentially trading for to be our future left tackle.
Tunsil's up at number 11. That's where they got him.
Okay.
Number 11. So he's got 91 in the rating, in pass protection, 66 in run blocking. So he has 676 in pass protection, right? So we still talking. That's still 200 and something less than than OBJ is doing. Okay, 200 something less, about 220, something like that. And Patrick Mahomes is dropping back here. Laremy Tunsil is a hell of a left tackle. Okay, he is. So, like I said, these are all things people you gotta figure out. But I just sometimes when we use these arguments, I think you got to do the entire scope of what the argument is. Right? You got to take everything into consideration. And I think everybody makes a point, and pro football shows that he's the 8th best, this and that. Okay, Well, are they quantifying how deep Patrick sits back? Are they quantifying everything that's in there? I don't think they do, and it's going to be hard to do that, right? So you got to trust, at least what you're seeing and making these arguments. I know OBJ is making those arguments about how many pass blocks he's doing every single year in this offense, the drop backs. That's what the job is as agents. And the Chiefs are saying, hey, you should be performing better. If you want this type of money, we need a better performance. We shouldn't be looking at your feet click and all these different things. So that's all the arguments, man. There's always going to be this. The question is, we'll wait till Monday, see what goes on. Am I in the boat of saying, should we pay OBJ? If it's for the right price, okay? I don't know if he should get top 1 or 2 money. I don't know if he should do that, okay? That's what he's asking for. It's up to Chiefs to make that decision. Do we go for a younger guy? I don't know if we do. There's some good young guys out there, some names already threw out there that I think that we could look at and try to develop. But believe me, it is going to be a development. Believe that. Trust me on this one, okay? So that's a lot there.
So obviously you kind of answered this already, but you'd rather pay for a left tackle and then draft your right tackle. We use one of our top 3 round picks for a right tackle. Hopefully top 2. I mean, I've seen some mock drafts that have us going for right tackle either first or second round, rather than go sign a right tackle and then draft a rookie left tackle.
Well, actually, what I'm saying is, if we draft somebody, I think if we're going to draft anybody, you draft a left tackle, you get a guy that is one of the top ones, right? Who's athletic, can do these things, okay? To play that position. That's what you're going to have to take your chance on. Right tackle, we got plenty of those in the building.
True.
We don't need to go draft a right tackle. We got enough of the guys that can go play right if we need to. Seriously, that's the way I look at it. As far as the Kennard, we got
Prince.
We got my man
Yang.
I mean, come on, we got right tackles. There's people in the building for that. I don't worry about that. It's left tackle. That's what we concentrating on. Left tackle. That's the guy that we need to get. So everything else, I'm cool with.
So Tampa Bay released Donovan Smith, their left tackle, this week. Some fans are high on that. Some fans are not high on that. Kind of mixed bag. I think I've seen mostly not high on.
Nope.
Okay.
You said and one little mean the Shannon does when you sit there like, nope. Hey man, nothing against him. I just look in this offense. Hey man, I think he might be better suited somewhere else. So I don't know what he's asking for. The thing is, here's reality. Can you find somebody in free agency that's not going to break the bank? Okay, that could still do the job. That you are confident that he's going to be able to do what you asking him to do. That's what it boils down to. Is he going to be able to protect PM15? That's what it boils down to. And if he's not, and you still got to help chip a left tackle, help chip a guy, then you have got to help him, right? But it's going to be for a significant low amount of money. You're going to do that, right? That's how I look at it. So, hey, man, left tackle is pass blocking 900 snaps. We got 900. Hey, he gonna need some help. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. And the other guy too, he tweeted out, Titans cut him last week, Taylor Lewan. He tweeted out today, just he put at Chiefs, put the eyes emoji. So he's trying to sell himself to Kansas City.
I mean, I like Taylor, man. I think he's a dog out there, left tackle. He's been hurt. That's his problem. The injury bug's been hitting him. And so that's not where you want to be as a left tackle, coming in to protect PM15. And I told you, this is what it's all about. Like, is this what it ain't about coming in and being a pass or a run blocker, this pass blocking, because that's what the Chiefs do. Now, will it change a little bit with Pacheco? Sure. There's going to be a little bit more runs, but pass protection is going to be your thing. You're going to have to be a great pass protector and then a good run blocker. We need both. We need both. And I'm saying that OBJ he's done a significant job here. Okay. I'm not going to discount the man at all, right? We just got to say it for what it is. I think we have a solid, a good left tackle in him. I do. Question is, what do you want paid? Okay. These other guys out here, are they going to take less money to try to do that?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
We'll see.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting when we have a couple days till Monday before we're the only team to get that deal done. And I think based on if we're doing this, playing this game, I think we kind of want him to see what the market is like they're out there. I think we've done our due diligence, and you never know. Teams, the smoke screen aspect of stuff, we'll get into the smoke screen in a second. But I think Veach is very one of those guys, very calculated guy, and I think GMs need to be kind of calculated. So I think he's done his due diligence, and I think he knows there's a market out there isn't as strong as Orlando Brown thinks it is, and he's betting that he won't get the money that he wants, and he want to come back home to Kansas City. That's
right. Teams are going to be looking at him, but like you said, I don't know if they're willing to pay that type of money.
Yeah. We'll see. That story's to be continued. Okay, so talking about potentially losing guys, that continued a little bit this week. It's been kind of a common theme with the reports and everything coming on. But as we talked about last week, and as Nostradamus properly called, if the numbers weren't going to be correct on both sides for the Chiefs, then it was going to be deuces for Frank Clark, and that's what happened. Frank Clark was released this week, saving us around $21 million by releasing him. Obviously, from the reports, said both sides were nowhere near in the same stratosphere as far as what the Chiefs wanted him to take next year. So JD called that. And then another report, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that the team is bracing to lose Mecole Hardman, who only played 8 games last year with that abdominal injury, and safety Juan Thornhill. Both are believed to have heavy interest in the open market. So my question to you, JD, is with the loss of these potential loss of these 3 guys, how impactful do you think this will be for our team this upcoming season?
You know what, man? You're talking about 3 guys that have been here, that have, pretty much the Juan and Harmon kind of growing up at Kansas City, cutting their teeth here. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for seeing a guy like that go. And for somebody that left his original team and they drafted him going somewhere else, it could be bittersweet. It could be like, hey, you know what? Hey, this is just a business thing of it. It might be really tough. Maybe really tough for them. But also, too, because of, I'll say this, because of the success that the Chiefs have had, and they've been a part of that success, no doubt about it. They've been an integral part in what we do on the field. They might be able to shop around and get some really good money for their services. So that's good for them. That's good. But I think, as far as like with the Chiefs, it's like, maybe moving in different directions. And so some of the things with Kadarius Toney coming in, young guys playing a secondary, cooking those guys at safety, they felt like it was they was in a good space to kind of see those guys kind of walk out the door, at least with the reports saying so. So, man, hats off to each and every one of them, man. I just want to say that Mecole and Juan doing an incredible job. They have. And I hope they get everything they're asking for in free agency. Frank, talking about him. Frank has been a guy that's been visible, high motor guy. When I'm talking about a locker room presence, media sensation, he gives all of that to Kansas City. And so that part of his contribution is going to be missed. It is. I mean, it's just the reality of it. Now, he may come back on the back end. I don't know how things may happen later on. We don't know. We don't know. But right now, I said it. I knew when Brett Veach said that, they had a point in mind what they wanted, and Frank and them had a point in mind that they wanted too. And then they come into negotiations, and they were far apart. They dismissed each other, right? Oh, well, I'm sorry. Shook hands, man, we love you, but, this ain't going to work. We don't have it for you. We're not willing to sign you for that amount of money. But, Frank, man, for everything that you've gone to the Chiefs and what you've done, what needs to be celebrated, talked about. And so, like I said, man, hats off to him. I mean, Frank, man, he brought him. He brought what he could bring to the Chiefs. And I know there was a lot of disappointments as far as like his production, but made a statement here. Made a statement. So this is NFL, man. It's a business, pure and simple. It's a business. And so it happens every single year. You're gonna see guys leave. We seen Cheetah and Tyrann Mathieu and the Honey Badger, which we didn't think gone. So that's the NFL. Not for long. Maybe not for long with that team. You're going somewhere else and take your talents elsewhere. So nothing but the best for those guys. Nothing but the best for them.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it, but the big thing that a lot of people said with Frank Clark being a leader in the locker room, that's going to be one thing that's missed. He was kind of that big voice in the locker room on the defensive side. So that's going to be missed big time. But last week, it strikes me as that, because we talked about it, calling it GM speak last week while hearing Brett Veach talk and having you translate that, and you were spot on with it. And when the report came out of what happened, the Chiefs had a number in mind and they just weren't close on it. I mean, I can imagine in the conversation, Frank, he took a pay cut last year, to stay with the team and, to come back, and he wasn't going to do that 2 years in a row. We kind of said that was going to happen. How did you, we call it Nostradamus as a joke, as you calling the future, and you did on this one 100%. How did you know that was going to happen the way it did happen?
Because I've been in enough of those meetings and negotiations to know exactly what that speak means. I know exactly. I've been a part of those things. So I know the situations through and through. And just over the years of just, negotiating my contracts, or at least my guys negotiating contracts, and what's being said and what's being said to the media, what's being said to you, everybody they massage you a little bit with all the good things they want to say. And then also when it comes to the money talk, oh, well, we can't quite do this. We can't quite do that. It's like, okay, it's got to stand up and shake hands and then move on, And so that's what it is. Everybody's playing their position until it comes down to the nitty gritty. And so when you get into those talks, it's just what it is. And so you just it can't be personal, right? You could have done everything. You could have sawed off your leg to be on the team, and, they appreciate it. But you know what? Hey, they're always trying to replace you. They try to do it for less money. And so to them, they're not going to get emotionally invested into something like that when they know it's just all business. Because it happens every year. Guys come in, guys go out, guys leave, guys retire. So I've known enough of that. I've seen enough of it. I've been a part of that, enough of it to know exactly what that means. And it was the pageant answer, right? It's the media answer that, supposed to give. And, hey, I'm not telling my hand. I'm just going to give you the old, hey, yeah, we're going to give it a good go. See how it's going to go, right? Behind closed doors, the Sharks and them, they going at it. Hey, this, you talk about a dog biting you. Oh, there's a lot of dog fights and bites and it going on in those meetings. I'm telling you. So that's why I know that. Just for the simple fact, man, you look past the words. Look past the words. You know how negotiation is, man. It's cutthroat in the NFL.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of dogs in those meetings.
Oh man, yeah. Look, and you better have a big dog to fight with you. It's on your squad. He can't be no little dog coming up here, man, talking about that. No, you better have a wolf coming in talking about the things you need to do. That's why people talk about Lamar Jackson just kind of going off this point, and his mom being his agent, a part agent. Well, she does part of it. But if you want somebody fighting for you, can you think of a better person than your mom to talk about how good their son is?
True. It's true. Yeah, that's the point. Everyone says that. Well, his mom's a problem. It's like, well, we're talking about someone advocating for you. I think a mom being our biggest fans. I think that's a pretty good person to do that.
Moms, brothers, sisters. I'm gonna have family first negotiate for me. They gonna be in my best interest.
Mm-hmm.
So. There are people, of course, like look how it's working out now and stuff like that. So I just think, how everything's happening out there with Lamar, man, is that's the business. It's crazy business.
Ruthless.
Oh yeah.
But that's the reason why we call you Nostradamus. So everyone gets that right. That's why we call it JD, Dunstradamus. And I don't know if you saw the Dunstradamus photo I sent over to you.
I did. Loved it.
So to talk about Mecole and Juan Thornhill. So Juan Thornhill's gone on Twitter pretty much hinting that he wasn't coming back. And also one more thing about Frank Clark. Classy by the organization. Obviously, Frank Clark was Brett Veach's first big time acquisition. He did that. Then a couple years later, did the Orlando Brown trade, but that was his first big time trade. So came here, got 2 Super Bowls, was a part of some of the best runs we've seen, and hopefully continues. But the Twitter page, they released the whole video thanking Frank. It was really nice. It also let the hand to me that I don't think he's coming back. Even I know some people want him to come back, and I wouldn't mind him coming back on a nice short term deal. But when you having thank you videos being tweeted out, I think it's goodbye for real.
He said sealed up. They do the video, then like as you get with the cap in the air, just kind of,
Well, because the 3 videos they put out in the last 2 days was EB. He's gone. He's OC in Washington. Chad Henne retired. They did a video for him. And then Frank Clark. He didn't retire, but he's gone, and I don't think he's coming back.
Retract the video. Hey, he's back. He showed it like it's like, yeah, man. I kind of agree with you. Yeah, you do the goodbye video. See you later. It might seal the deal.
Yeah. It's the girlfriend giving you all your clothes back. It's like, we still got a shot, do we? Probably not. This is it. Like, she's giving you all your clothes back. That means you ain't going back to her place ever again. It's probably time's up.
Right. Yeah.
Run its course.
You gotta do something really good to get back in that position.
Yes, sir. So Juan Thornhill, he's kind of hinted at that the next 2 weeks are going to be very interesting. All reports are indicating that he's the number 2 safety that everyone's going at right now. Jesse Bates being the number 1 guy. They think if they can't really match Jesse Bates' price, Juan Thornhill will be the next number 2 guy to go. So good for him. He's going to get paid.
Absolutely.
Mecole Hardman, obviously he missed a lot of games this year. And they're saying he's probably going to get paid somewhere around 10 to 15, somewhere in the Juju range. So it's obviously we're choosing to go in the Juju range based on the other reports that we've seen. But are you shocked at all that we're not retaining Mecole Hardman?
No, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. And the injury lingering like it did. But I think they went out and got a guy that can do what Mecole Hardman can do, and Kadarius Toney. And so when you sit there and you look at a guy that got the same body type, got the same speed and different things, you start looking like, okay, all right, I see what's going on. I see what's going on here. Okay, right is on the wall. All right, everybody's looking at you different. Everybody ain't patting you on the back like they used to. And he's a new guy. He's like, hey, what's up? Kadarius, how you doing? Because like, yeah, it used to be me.
Mm-hmm.
Doing Eddie Kane Jr. How does it feel to be me? From the 5 Heartbeats. Have you ever seen that 5 Heartbeats?
I don't think so.
Oh man, that's beautiful. I had to send you that piece. Ready, keep it. But that's kind of what it is. That's what it's like. That's so when you got a guy that got the same skill set that you can do, then hey man, we don't have to pay this guy that much money, right? Still on his rookie contract, and so we're going to deal with that accordingly. And like I said, this is a business. It is a business. Nothing personal. This is a business. And so they're going to take their chances on KT.
Yeah. And KT, and we're going to get into him in a second, the way the Chiefs see him long view, but I don't know if it's smoke screen or not, but we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I mean, KT, can do a lot of things Hardman does, but also he's got more of that receiver kind of ball skills that he's kind of shown, at least over in the small sample size we've seen with him. And I've seen some people that said, I'm not trying to knock on Mecole Hardman, but I've seen some people said that we never really gave him a chance. Kind of, gave him a chance to be the guy. And it's like,
really?
That's when Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill were getting doubled. I think he had a shot to be the guy. When Sammy Watkins was gone, I think he had a chance to step up. 2 years ago, that's all on our show. It's all we kept talking about. When me, you, and E always talk about who's going to step up. Can DHop step up? Can Pringle step up? Is Hardman going to step up? I mean, we talked about it every week. Who's going to step up? And we just really weren't seeing that. And a lot of people said, "Oh, Pat was only locking eyes on Kelce or Hill." But I mean,
Pat gonna throw who's open, and I think he had ample opportunity to show what he can do. And look, the guy's talented. Yeah. He got better with the ball skills, like in that stretch. That he was, man, to catching balls, man, he was fire. He was absolute fire. I think this year he was supposed to be the guy. I think he was the one, like, okay, this is the year. You ain't got Tyreek. You ain't worry about him holding your back. You are going to be the guy. You could be the one to step up, show everybody what you can do. Excuse me. And he got hurt. Yeah. So injury, man, it sucks. But man, that's the business. So, hey, it's like, hey, potentially what we're looking at, we got this guy here. We seen him make plays too. So do we want to contend with this guy or a guy that, who has been here for a couple of years that have had chances and opportunity to do things? But that's why he's going out. He's going to get money. He's shown what he can do. He's shown that he's a capable receiver, a capable playmaker in the NFL. That's why this free agency, he goes out, he's gonna get paid. He's gonna get money. He's gonna get money. Somebody's gonna get his services. Believe that. They're gonna get a very good player in Mecole Hardman. Okay. So let me just make that point and be clear about that. They're gonna get a good player, Mecole Hardman. Period. So
yeah. And one thing, and he's gonna get paid a lot of money and he deserves it. And it was cool to see that he was gonna be one of the top guys in this free agency class for receiver. It's like, okay, well, that's great. He's gonna go get his. Right. But one thing I've seen is, Mecole has played kind of this, while we talk about people say he didn't really get it shot to shine, he played kind of more of that gadget type guy, the jet motion, kind of that little flip pass to him and stuff. And that's like he scored 2 touchdowns in that San Francisco game during the season off that alone. And that's kind of what his role is or has been. And I think, and just to talk about the kind of the big picture view of it, we can get a guy who can do that, who's not going to get paid $10 million plus to do that. And one the guy we actually have, and I didn't even realize we signed him at the end of the season. One of our future contracts that we signed was John Ross, former first-round pick from Washington, who I believe it still has the fastest 40-yard dash by a receiver at the combine. Yeah. And he's on our team now, and that's a guy who's kind of built for that gadget role. Now I'm not saying he's going to make the team, but like, right, we have Hardman, Watson, and Juju, all free agents. That's 3 guys we keep talking about need to fill, right? So like John Ross is in the perfect place to be right now. Maybe he can resurrect his career and turn into something. Who knows? But I mean, that's a guy who could fill that gadget type role, right?
Yeah, but Kadarius is here. I mean, John Ross is another guy. I mean, his career's been up and down, right? It's been up and down. I think we got enough gadget guys. I think we do. I think we need number 1 wide receiver. That's what we need. That's what we should be looking at. And so that's what we should be addressing in our role right now. We got guys. Sky Moore can do particular things, right? Darius Sanders can do particular things. Does John Ross make the roster like you said? We don't know. Could he? With our offense, what we do, how we do things to get guys open, he could definitely fit here. Mm-hmm. But I think, without a doubt, the Chiefs, to take some of the pressure off Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, I think the Chiefs need to go get them a number 1 wide receiver. Do we have one? That's the question. That answer is yes or no. Do we have a number 1 wide receiver?
Well, that leads us perfect segue into our final topic, JD.
Okay. All right. I like that.
So with our final topic tonight, it's off season, also called smokescreen season. And our late great friend Therese Paler always talked about how off season is a season built up of lies. Never believe what you hear. There have been multiple reports this week, conflicting reports this week. But there are multiple reports of us being interested in a number 1 receiver. Allen Robinson, who the Rams are allowing him to seek a trade, and they will pay some of his contract off. That's how much they want to. The 2 sides want to end that relationship they had, short-lived relationship. DeAndre Hopkins, who we've talked about on the show, we're still a name to watch in that whole situation. And he said today he's not seeking a new contract. He said he'll play out the 2 years, on average $17 million a year for the next 2 years. And then Alan Lazard, who is a free agent, another Packer who MVS is trying to recruit. I feel like MVS is trying to recruit all the Packers guys to prove to Rodgers that you can actually win with those weapons, because I know Rodgers was saying for a while he couldn't win with the weapons he had. But, however, a report did come out yesterday from NFL Network's James Palmer that said, quote, "The thought in Kansas City right now is Patrick Mahomes is expected to be throwing to the same core group of guys that he ended the season with. Travis Kelce, Kadarius Toney, who the Chiefs believe will be their number one receiver in 2023. MVS, and the plan is to bring Juju back and obviously Sky Moore." So, JD, what do you think about these conflicting reports about us looking into wide receivers around the league, or the notion that we'll keep the same group of guys that we have in right now, including the fact that Kadarius Toney is seen as a number one receiver?
Wow, there's a lot there.
Yep.
So the three guys, okay, and we know how these rumors, right? Smoke screens, and we don't know who's putting the rumors out. Hey, leak this, say that, and you saying Allen Robinson, DHop, Allen Lazard. Okay, if we're sitting there saying, and you better get that guaranteed that DHop is sitting there saying, "I'll play the 2 years on the 17," to me, it makes sense to go get DHop, right? To me, without a doubt, what I'm telling you, a guy with a catch radius that is out of this world, okay, can do every little route that's ran, unorthodox and catching the football, doing those things. DHop is a number one receiver. He's a number one receiver. And all those guys that we named, DHop is the number one receiver out of those three. Allen Robinson has kind of been rocky. He's been up and down a little bit. He's a question. He's the number one. Yeah, in Chicago, he did a great job. I think he was in Jacksonville too, right?
Yeah, Jacksonville's where he was drafted, yep.
Yeah, so, I know somebody who's that name jumps off the page to me. That's DHop. Is that true? Everybody else name? Juju had a great year. He had a great year with us, and it makes sense for him to come back. It makes sense to want to come play here. Why not? I think he found a home. It's a great fit for him. If you're able to sign Juju for an amount of money, cool. I don't care if DHop don't catch 100 and something balls a year, okay? The balls he going to catch is going to be significant balls. He's going to get in the end zone. He's going to make people miss. He's going to do some things out there that's going to be like, wow. That's DHop. This is the guy that we want. If we can get DHop for 2 years, come on, man. For $17 million, man, jump all over it. Better be all over it. So this is me. If I'm the GM, this is Jason Dunn's team. This is Jason Dunn's pick. Everybody don't have to look. You don't have to agree with me all you want to. People can say he's wise. People want to, use that. Oh, he's wise. Man, DHop is a significantly better player than a lot of guys in the league, period. And the thing is, he's had certain guys throw to him that have been great. They ain't been Patrick Mahomes. He had great quarterbacks. You get a great quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, get the ball to you, DHop is he is going to be exceptional here. Takes the pressure off Patrick Mahomes, takes the pressure off Travis Kelce. Kadarius Toney can be that guy that could be the second receiver, however, fitting in. But with DHop, Kadarius Toney, MVS, Sky Moore, come on, man. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that right there. How you covering that? What are you going to do? That's why I look at it. Ooh, how you going to stop that offense? Travis Kelce? How you going to stop that? Isaiah Pacheco? Jared McKinnon? Woo! Hey, man, sign me up. I want to see that. Sign me up to come to the games. I'll be there.
So there's a certain radio personality in Kansas City who's been going on the airwaves saying that DeAndre Hopkins is pretty much somewhat washed. He's not a top 10 receiver anymore. And Carrington Harrison from The Drive was saying that he doesn't see DeAndre Hopkins as a top 10 receiver. And I think that's just malarkey.
Carrington said that?
Yeah.
Was he being serious? That's sarcasm.
Oh, no. His whole shtick has been anti-DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's bought into this whole, well, we won this year without having a number one receiver. We spread the ball around. And we won it this year. But my thing to that, my retort to that, and I want to ask you this, I don't want to be in a situation again where we have to be in the AFC Championship game and we have to rely on guys like Marcus Kemp it's amazing that it happened, and it's amazing that he stepped up in one of the biggest spots, and he'll probably remember this for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be the norm. We kind of want to make life easier for our $500 million quarterback, not make it harder for him to throw one-legged passes, on the one ankle the guys just throw to Marcus Kemp. I mean, it's already hard enough playing on one ankle. You got to throw a practice squad receiver in the biggest moment of the year.
Come on, man. Yeah, like what, man, I know the level of difficulty. Maybe that's what it is. They just want to see Patrick do even more outstanding things. Maybe it's just what it is. Solidify his legacy. They just wanted to do even more the triple half gainers twist and, make it, the level of difficulty so out of the world that it's impossible. He's going to do that. But sometimes you just want to make it easy. Give him a target he can throw to that makes his job easier, right? Travis Kelce's playing at a high level, okay? He's getting hit. He's getting up there in age. Make it easy for Kelce. Kelce, look, where he don't have to get double or triple team and hit all the time, get another guy here that's going to be able to, perform, right? And so, oh, man. Well, I mean, that's where he is. And that's his opinion. That's his opinion. He's going to be on that train. That's fine. I'm on the train that DHop is another still stellar wide receiver. If I'm just lining them up, top 10 wide receivers I'm taking, DHop is going to be in my top 10 every single pick. Every single pick. I'm just telling you. We know there's guys out there, right? I mean, there's some talented wide receivers, top 10, but ain't no way DHop's out of mine. Shoot. Ain't no way. So I get, make the argument all you want to. Juju is a fabulous wide receiver. Now, it's not no Juju hate. Juju is absolutely incredible. I think he fits here. We know that. Like I said, it makes sense for him wanting to be here. This is what makes sense for us wanting to have Juju here. But DHop is just, I think, it's
not close.
Juju and DHop, right? You know what I'm saying? He's at some point, like when I'm talking about consistency, DHop, come on, man. Stop playing.
And we're talking about if he says he'll play out the rest of his contract about $17 million a year. Juju wants estimate anywhere from about $14 to $15 million a year. So we're talking about a matter of $2 million for that level of talent. And Juju's good, but it's a big drop off. Like you said, it's a big drop from Hopkins to Juju.
Yeah, man.
I also want to throw some numbers at you, JD. So we talked about DeAndre Hopkins. Everyone talks about injury history. Yeah, last few years he's been dinged up. This year he only played 9 games, but he had a 6-game suspension because of PEDs.
Right.
So he played 9 games, right? So you think a guy had 9 games, he had 64 catches, 717 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now that would have been second on our team of receivers.
Hold on. I'm gonna write this down. You said 9 games.
9 games.
Okay.
64 catches.
64 catches.
717 yards.
717 yards.
3 touchdowns.
3 tubs. Okay. I got you.
Now I'm gonna go to our receiving core here.
Okay.
I'll go with our high guys. So 16 games. Juju played 16 games last year, had 78 catches.
78 catches.
933 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
MVS.
That's 16 games. That's 16 games.
16 games, yeah. So 7 more games than DHop.
Okay.
MVS, 17 games.
17. Okay.
42 catches.
42 catches.
687 yards.
600 how much?
687.
87. Okay.
2 touchdowns.
2 tubs.
And I want to go to the other guys we had. They're significantly far away, but
so if my math's correct, okay. I'm looking at this. Okay, I'm looking at the math. All right, I'm looking at the math here. So 9 games, 64 catches, 717 yards, 3 touchdowns. Juju, 16 games, 78 catches, 933 yards, 3 touchdowns. MVS, 17 games, 42 catches, 687 yards, 2 tubs, right?
Yep.
I mean, if I'm just looking at this, I'm not even putting no name on it. Let's not even put a name. Let's just look at the production. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't what's the name DHop didn't have
he had Colt McCoy for like half those games.
Who?
Colt McCoy. Yeah.
Not PM15. Not Patrick Mahomes.
Not Patrick Mahomes.
Well, shoot, man. Come on, man. Cut this out. We need to cut this out right here. Seriously. Let's have a serious conversation. Okay. DHop would love to come here. We would love to have him. This 64 catches in 16 games.
In 9 games.
9 games. Come on, man. What are we doing here? Are we having a serious conversation? Look, you can hate on DHop all you want to. I get it. I look. I'm one that I love core guys. I love consistency of guys being on teams. But we seen this past year, Patrick got 4 different new receivers. 4. MVS, Juju, Sky Moore,
Tony.
Kadarius Toney, Watson. I mean, that's 5.
Yeah.
He can play with anybody. You get a guy like that here, DHop. Come on. Like we seriously, like if you don't like DHop and you feel like he's washed, I get it. These numbers don't say that. That's not what the numbers say, Marcus. 9 games, 64 catches, 717 yards, 3 tugs. Does that look like wash to you? I'm just.
Yeah, and also the same radio clip that I saw, he also said that he thinks that DHop would get about 800 yards, 800 or 900 yards. He wouldn't get any more. He wouldn't get 1,000 yards essentially in Kansas City.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Look, Pat, having another security blanket because you have a legit number one. You're giving Pat a legit number one guy, right? These other guys are. That's what everybody was talking about. Does he have a number one receiver? That's what they was asking all this past year. Does he have a number one receiver? He did a lot with little, if you will, right? I'm not discounting MBS and Juju and all those. I'm not discounting those guys. I'm just saying it would help him out significantly more having a DHop here, a number one without legit wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers that we've seen in the last 6, 7, 8 years. Okay? Seriously. For 2 years, just do it for 2. Get it for 2. If that's it, that's going to cost you 2 then. Let it be it.
Yeah.
But I think DHop has something still in the tank. This right here shows me he does. That's what the numbers say. It's not just me saying it. Proof is in the pudding.
And I believe his first game back was on that Thursday night game against the Saints. And I believe he had 14 catches and 120 yards in that game, that first game back.
I get we'll spread the ball around. This is what the offense does.
Mm-hmm.
Spread the ball around. Okay. His talent won't be wasted here. Legit number one. Everybody else around him just opens up the offense even more significantly. How do you even start that? You know, you got Pacheco and Jet and those guys running the ball. Okay, now we're a much more capable running team. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more of that this year. And now you got a DHop on the outside too with MVS, right? With Kadarius Toney, with Kelce, with Sky Moore and those guys. I mean, hey man, that's where I'm at. So
I'm right there with you, JD. I don't understand the hate for a guy who's pretty much produced his entire career with having outside the Watson years and a little bit of the Murray years the year before, 2 years ago, where he played amazing with Murray. He had injury bug last year, and then this past year, the 6 games of the PEDs. But like the guy's pretty much been flawless throughout his entire career. It didn't matter what his quarterback was, and that usually shows you who a guy is. And he's also he wants to make it easier for the other team. He's gonna take he'll take his deal that he wants, that he has right now. He doesn't even want an extension. I don't get it.
A guy like this, at the end of his career, okay, we're saying this is on the right end of his career, okay, he would, without a doubt, want to win a Super Bowl. He will do everything possible to win a Super Bowl, okay? He's a guy that, without a doubt, in a game, you can go to. There's no question about it. You know who to throw the ball up to DHop. He's going to go get it. He's going to get it. He's going to make it a hard catch. He's going to catch everything that other people just not catching, right? A couple of guys throw the ball to you, kind of, ooh, like he caught that. Like, oh, my gosh, oh, great catch, right? DHop, you already know, man. Get your popcorn. Okay. What we looking at now, right? So, I don't know.
And except, I mean, whenever I post about Hopkins on our Twitter account and our YouTube, people are always saying they come back to, we did it last year without a number one receiver. We don't need him. What is your rebuttal to people when you hear that?
I'd say, yes, we did do it without a number one receiver. Absolutely did, right? But it was tough. It was tougher doing it that way, okay? We want to make everybody's jobs easier. We want Patrick Mahomes to last. We've seen him scrambling around. We don't want him scrambling around that often if guys are not getting open. We don't want him doing that, okay? We want Travis to be here as long as he possibly can, okay? Take some of the hits off of him where he's running around here tired and stuff like that, man. He's been an absolute champ, a warrior in what he does, okay? The man's getting tired. He didn't pay his dues. He's been putting all those things in. You can make his job easier, okay? That's what you do. Now you don't have to double Travis or triple and hit him all the time. You got a DHop out there. He will come and make sure that everybody in secondary is playing honest and everybody is going to be put on notice. Every single snap. Every single snap. Yeah. He's going to have some DB shaking in their boots, put it that way. So,
yeah. It's going to be if it does happen, it's going to be box office. It's going to be amazing to watch.
Oh, man, come on. Come
on. And so the other ones we got, other receiver you kind of mentioned, Allen Robinson, Alan Lazard. Sure, I mean that'd be okay, but it's not number one receiver we're talking about. Allen Robinson, played with Matt Nagy in Chicago. Matt Nagy's ROC now. Looked at his numbers. I mean, he had 2018 and 2021. He was in Chicago. 2019 and 2020 were his Pro Bowl seasons. 2019, 98 catches, 1,147 yards, 7 touchdowns. 2020, 102 catches, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. And that was with Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback. Yeah. So, I mean, he has proven to play within the offense that Nagy runs, obviously with Andy Reid and Mahomes and Kelce. It'll be a little different here, but I don't think he's watched. I believe he's 29. We were rumored to be interested in him last year before he signed with the Rams. Yeah. So there could be potential there. Obviously, you and I share the same belief. We don't see him in the same light as DHop, but do you see him as a wide receiver one?
Yeah, he has been in the past. He has, definitely. And the thing is, I think last year, just because it was really weird how the Rams used it, I didn't appreciate it at all, because I'm sitting there thinking, well, Cup goes down, and all of a sudden you got Allen Robinson. Why is he not getting, the looks? Why is he not getting any balls? And I think the one game he kind of shined, and it seemed like he came off of it. So I don't know, man. And I think one of the concerns for me is, are we going to utilize him and his size and his length, in our scheme? Okay. The reason I don't worry about that as far as with DHop, because DHop can run every route that you give it. He can run it all. So stop and goes, comebacks, whatever. I mean, DHop, he's going to make it happen. So Allen Robinson is, without a doubt, in the past been a number one wide receiver. So I don't know as far as like how that went. Or him and Nagy, are they going to be able to get, on the same page with everything? Because that was like some of the contention of them, had a little bit, there with it, right? And so we don't know. That was like a concern we were talking about last year. But I like Allen Robinson. The thing is, he's going to be utilized. That's the question about it, the way to what he gives you. So, and Joe he could jump, catch balls. He got good range. I mean, shoot, he's a talented wide receiver. We still have yet to throw fade routes and stuff like that in the end zone, but he would be a guy that you, without a doubt, could throw. But I know who else who could do that. DHop.
I hope that comes to. I hope. Talk about Dustin Thomas. I hope if that's one thing, I hope that's that. I hope you speak that into fruition.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. You know, I'm looking at the numbers. Okay, I don't see washed.
Yeah,
I don't see it. So
that's anything but to get that to almost have 1,000 yards in like 9 games is wild to me.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is also, I mean, I see the appeal. I know Mahomes MVP season, Super Bowl, but like we didn't have a receiver. Mahomes was the first quarterback to throw for over 5,000 yards, or sorry, second quarterback to throw for over 5,000 yards and not have a wide receiver go over 1,000 yards. And we're sitting here talking about we could do it again. It's like, that's not a sustainable thing. There's a reason why Mahomes is one of 2 guys to ever do that.
Yeah, man. Tough, man. It just tells you how great of a player Patrick Mahomes is. He's one of a lifetime talent. Okay, and like you said, one of the 2 players to ever do something like that. Like you said, it's not sustainable. You want to make it easy on it, not make it harder. Let's not make it harder on it. Look, we're looking for dynasty. We want the Chiefs to rule these next few years. Okay, Super Bowl. We're talking about now. Okay, let's do it now. We got all the pieces that you need pretty much in order. Somewhat, you know, right now we're still working through whatever, but the main piece, PM15, Travis Kelce, get some other guys around him to help. We got some guys. We got great, you know, the great guys. We do, but shoot, bringing another guy in that you know is the number one. Come on, man. How you against something like that? You know, you don't want to win now. Yeah. So I know that's not what it is.
I think it's more likely because I think some people have said, "Oh, don't draft or don't trade for DHop, don't trade for a receiver, don't sign a receiver. We'll just go ahead and draft one."
Oh,
kind of. I mean, let's say we don't sign Juju, MVS, the oldest guy, a guy who had no catches in the Super Bowl. That's gonna be our veteran presence in that receiver room. That's gonna be our main guy, and everyone else like the younger, like the new faces, the Sky Moore, the KTs, and then we draft another receiver. Like I don't know. I really do hope we bring in some kind of receiver, whether it is DHop, whether it is even a Robert Woods type. I do hope we bring in someone.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man, and I don't necessarily look at touchdowns and those things as being as far as a leader or veteran presence.
Yeah,
you can have all those things about you, and you don't have to catch a whole lot of balls or a touchdown in the, you know what I mean?
But a guy making $13 million and he's not doing that. That's like, I'm never against players making their money, but like talk about production matching their value.
I get it. Yeah. Well, maybe if anything, it shows all the younger players like, man, I'm ready to get paid. He get 13 for that. Oh, true. Hey, when my time come up, boy, I'm gonna hit him over the head with mine.
It's true.
So, yeah. So yeah, man, go on get that 13. Go on get it, man, because I'm looking to get 15, 16. My time come up 18, 20. So
because you look at that and you're like, wait, so DHop is going to play out of 17 mil a year, and then we have MVS is making 13, and then Juju wants 15. I mean, it's just like it's a no brainer. And I think anybody, if they do want a second, I know obviously it's tough to give up a second, but you're not getting DHop in the second round, a guy who's ready to go win right now.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But yeah, so this time next week is when the new league year starts. So hopefully by the time our show comes up on that Wednesday night, hopefully there's some juicy bits coming our way, and hopefully maybe a DHop trade by that point.
Yeah, man, we shall see. We shall see. So.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys next week as the new NFL year starts and the reigning Kings can make a few splashes. Hopefully some DHop.
Yes, sir. We'll see.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.